What is going on, you guys? My name is Seapeekay and welcome back to the channel. Today's doing something a little bit different. If you are a fan of the channel last year, you'll have seen that I did something like this. Every year I go to a festival in the UK called Slam Dunk Festival. And it's a one-day event, or 3 days if you're feeling really hardcore and want to travel all the way across the UK. But one day for me, I go to Leeds every year, Slam Dunk North, because it's a really awesome opportunity to see a bunch of bands and you just get to hang out with friends and have an all-round great day. The day starts at like 12 and finishes at like 11 p.m. I think. It's a long day of standing and listening to bands, but it's always super fun. And we always get pretty lucky with the weather too, which is nice because it's England, so we got to be thankful for every sunny day we get. But last year I did a video of like 5 bands I'm looking forward to seeing there. This year, changing it up a little bit. I'm still going to talk about the bands I'm excited to see there. But I'm also going to talk about the bands that have given their music to video games, because that's what my channel is. My channel's video games. So, without further ado, I'm going to talk about some bands. So, actually, one of the bands that I'm really excited to see there, because just for nostalgia's sake alone, Good Charlotte are actually headlining the festival, which is badass because I've never seen Good Charlotte, and I think that Girls and Boys and Anthem were like really big songs while I was growing up. I used to listen to them all the time, and it's super cool to see that even now they're making music, because that was Girls and Boys a long time ago. Must be 10 years now, I think. So I've been looking into like, it's kind of hard to research this kind of stuff, honestly, because a lot of bands have given their music to movies, but we're here specifically talking about games. Now, there is a little bit of a crossover here, because Good Charlotte actually did a song with Waka Flocka Flame for the movie Pixels, which is a movie about video games. Can we get away with that? Maybe we can. But yeah, they performed a song called Game On in Pixels movie. I think it was an Adam Sandler movie. But they have given their songs to other games, and you're gonna see a recurring theme through this, which we'll talk about later on as well. So the first thing that I have on record that they gave it to was Madden NFL 2003. Their song, The Anthem, which I love, was actually on Madden NFL 2003. So yeah, that song's definitely 10 years old, because it was on a 16-year-old, 15-year-old game. So definitely 10 years old. So it was on Madden NFL, and they also gave their songs to Project Gotham Racing 2. Then it went to ATV Off-Road Fury, and I'm assuming you're probably seeing the link here, is that the games that they gave their songs to are usually things like extreme sports, sports in general, or like racing games. And this got me thinking, like, why does that happen? And I guess it's because most games don't have like an actual soundtrack, right? Like racing game, like Project Gotham and like Forza's and things like any games by EA Sports, like FIFA and stuff like that, they always have music playing on like the main menu, and it's always licensed music from artists. Whereas like a lot of other games, maybe that I will play, don't have that, which is why I think there's such a big recurring theme. A lot of the bands we're talking about today have their songs given to like games like Madden and games like FIFA and Project Gotham and Forza. So it's cool to see. But yeah, there is a recurring theme throughout. But that's all I could find for those guys. I mean, just a quick shout out, because they actually did some of the music for Dude, Where's My Car, which is the greatest film in existence. So big shout out to Good Charlotte. But let's move on to the next band that I want to talk about. So the next band, again, they're one of the bands that I'm actually really looking forward to seeing. I mean, I don't even know if I can see them now, because they released the times, and there's a 3-way stage clash. So 3 bands that I want to see are all playing at the exact same time. I really want to see Paris, because they're great. I really want to see Northlane, because they're on at the same time as well. And Taking Back Sunday. That is the band I'm about to talk about. A band, again, from my upbringing. Like, when I was becoming this wondrous man that I am today, I went through a musical journey and really listened to a whole bunch of different styles of music before owning in on what I really liked. Taking Back Sunday were a huge part of that, and all my friends listened to Taking Back Sunday, so I listened to Taking Back Sunday. Now, Taking Back Sunday are the first band that I'm looking at that have given their music to one of the most popular game franchises of all time, Tony Hawk's. So they had a couple of songs on Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, which is one of the newer ones. I mean, I say that, it's 2005, so it's not newer anymore. But, you know, a lot of people, when you say Tony Hawk's, think of like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, 2, and 3. They're like the OG games. They also gave their music to Amped, which was a freestyle snowboarding game. Now, this one is interesting because I'm not sure where it features, but they were actually in Saints Row 2. Now, that's a big differential to all the other things like the sports games and stuff. Saints Row 2 is a bit of a standout game because it's not a sport, or it's not an extreme sport. So they actually had their song Make Damn Sure, which is one of my favorite tracks by the band, in Saints Row 2. I'm assuming probably while you were driving a car, you could listen to a radio station that had it on or something. I'm guessing that's how they would do it. And again, not about games, but they also gave some of their music to Transformers, which is just badass. It's just cool, isn't it? We all love Transformers. Now, a band I'm only mentioning because they have a super recent one. A band I've seen before. I'm not super going out of my way to see them again this time, but if there's nothing else on, I'll see them. Is Sleeping with Sirens. I haven't really listened to them for the past few years. I liked their first couple of albums a lot, but the newer stuff doesn't really do it for me. I understand why people like it, but it's not for me. And the reason I'm mentioning them is because they have the most recent one that I could find, and they had their song Gold on Forza Horizon 3, which was only out just at the back end of 2016. So they get an honorable mention for, that's the only song they've had in a game too, that I could find anyway. So Forza Horizon 3, it's definitely the newest one that I could find. And I think I'm going to move on to the last two bands. They're pretty similar in style. So the last two bands I want to talk about, again, two bands I probably won't be seeing. I might catch one of them, are Goldfinger and Zebrahead. Now, at Slam Dunk, they're both on the Fireball stage, which is kind of like a ska/punk stage, I guess. In before I get savaged for that being incorrect. But that stage has like Real Big Fish, Goldfinger, The Skints, Zebrahead, and stuff like that on. Not bands I would go out of my way to see, but I've seen Zebrahead before, and I do enjoy them. So if there's nothing on, we'll go and see it. Now, Goldfinger have actually featured on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, so they were the OGs. They were on there on the original Tony Hawk's game. And they also gave it to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. And then again, we get the theme of Burnout Revenge. So it all comes down to things like racing games, sports games. I'd love for it to somehow diversify, but I think there's a lot of games that don't necessarily like license band music. Like I know some of the music for trailers and stuff, but then like when you're in a game, like I mean, Gears of War was a huge game for me. I used to love that game. They had Mad World as like their official track, but throughout the game there wasn't really any other music. It's all like orchestral pieces or, you know, music written specifically for the game, because that makes more sense to do than have other people's music in your games sometimes. And as I said, Zebrahead, again, they were on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. So Goldfinger and Zebrahead were on Tony Hawk's 1, 3, 4. Like, just missed out on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, which I'd argue is the most iconic of all the games for some reason. Now, one that they do get a shout out for here is they were in the Sonic the Hedgehog game. And then, obviously, not the original. I'm talking about the Sonic the Hedgehog Xbox 360 game from 2006. Their track His World was actually in that game, and again, that's a big deviation from like the sports games and stuff. They got into like a more mainstream game, I guess you could call it. They also then featured in Sonic Generations, which was a Sonic game where you could go back all through the various things. So I guess they just used the same song. They also featured one that hasn't come up yet, surprisingly, WWE SmackDown vs. Raw. With Legs Like That came on 2009, 2010. My guess is that it was an intro song for a wrestler, potentially. Or it could have just been on the main menu through one of those things, as I've said before. Guys, that is going to be it for this one. As I said, every year I go to Slam Dunk. If you're in the UK, you should check out Slam Dunk Festival. It's actually ridiculous. There'll be a picture of the lineup on the screen right now. I usually find me spending most of my time at the Impericon stage because it's like the kind of bands that I like. This year it has The Devil Wears Prada, which I'm super excited to see. Counterparts I really want to see. North Lane. But then, sadly, I've got to go see Good Charlotte. So they clash with like 3 other bands. So I've got to go see Good Charlotte. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this one. I know it's a bit different, but let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.